Last year, I grew a massive 450 pounds of potatoes in containers, but this year I nearly wiped out my entire harvest by one silly mistake. Want to know how you can avoid my disaster and ensure that you boost your garden's yield? Then watch on, because the answer might shock you. Gardening isn't always predictable, and sometimes nature can throw you a curveball. Today, I want to share with you what went wrong in my potato container garden and what I've learned from it so that you don't make the same mistakes. So grab yourself a coffee and let's get to it. Let's talk about how the weather, especially excessive rain, can really impact your container plants. Potatoes need a well-draining soil in order to thrive, and so do other plants like tomatoes, peppers and herbs. When the soil becomes waterlogged, it creates an anaerobic condition. That means without air, and this can lead to smaller potatoes, rot and overall a smaller yield. And it's much similar things for other plants as well. In a previous video, I spoke about the importance of good drainage when container gardening. Good drainage prevents water sitting at the bottom and creating that anaerobic environment that can lead to rot. Whether you're growing potatoes, tomatoes or any other plant, good drainage is the key. So, what exactly went wrong for me this season? Even though I used my tried and tested Oakland garden containers, some of them didn't drain as they should have. The relentless rain compacted that soil and affected the potato growth, and I didn't notice this until it was too late. So let's take a closer look at this soil. Notice how dense it is and how much water we're able to squeeze out of it. That shows that it's holding too much moisture and there wasn't enough air. And this leads to poor plant nutrition and health. This year I mixed my homemade compost with coconut coir because coconut coir is perfect for holding on to moisture. But this year we've had so much rain, it had the opposite effect to what I was looking for. Instead of just retaining moisture, it actually became oversaturated and led to waterlogging. And I didn't anticipate that compost with that much coir and the heavy rains would lead to a real poor drainage issue for the containers. I know that a couple of £100 of potatoes doesn't seem like much of a failure to some of you guys, but to me, I'm always looking to push the boundaries of what's achievable in my garden and beat my own records. Last year's harvests were phenomenal, and it just shows me what you can achieve with the right methods. But this year, we didn't even come close to that, and for me, that's a little bit of a setback. It's not about being the best or comparing myself to other people. For me, it's about knowing what my garden is capable of and striving to achieve that year on year. When things don't go as planned, I see that as a learning opportunity so that we can address that, and then I can share that knowledge with you so that together we can all grow better gardens. And while we're on the topic of potatoes, I wanted to share with you a tool that I've been using that has really helped me in ensuring great crops every year. And it's a tool I designed. It's my potato tool. And this tool will give you a ton of information about any specific variety, such as whether it's a first early, second early, main crop, determinate, indeterminate, what soil it likes, how far apart to grow, what you can do with them. It has tons and tons of information, and if you want to be able to download that, the link will be in the description. It's a totally free tool to use. And I have even more exciting news to share with you. Until I put out my next video, I'm going to give away my ebook Potato Potentials, totally free of charge. All you've got to do is go to the description to download that too. And that book has tons of information on how best to grow potatoes in containers so that you maximize your crops. We've already addressed a lot of the challenges that you would normally have, and in this book, it's going to address all of the others too. don't miss out on this opportunity to improve your potato growing skills. Get yourself into the description and download a free copy of my ebook today. Now we know all the issues, let's talk solutions. Here's some of the steps that you can take in order to ensure that you don't have these problems. And the first of those is to use the Oakland Gardens new container style, because these containers, they have holes all around the bottom and the sides, and they're raised up on little feet, which prevents water from pooling, especially if it's on a patio or something like that. So those containers are fantastic for stopping this. Now let's talk about the soil preparation. It's a great idea mixing compost with coir for water retention, and that's fantastic for drier years. But if you know you're going to have a wet year like we've had, then that's a mistake, and you may want to consider actually adding in some perlite or sand, something that's going to allow that water to pass through and not compact it. Let's not forget about container placement. You could select a more sheltered spot for putting your containers on, or a hard standing which will allow that water to wick away. And we may even consider like using a tarp when we have long periods of rain that are going to downpour, but don't forget to take that off after the rain so that the sunlight can still get back to your plants. I'm also thinking about using something like a clear mesh that will go above the potatoes but not act like a greenhouse or a polytunnel, so that we are not creating hot, humid conditions that are not conducive to good plant growth. And this will help shed away a lot of the water, but in the same time allow all of the natural light and everything gets through so that the potatoes can still get what they require. I think this approach will prevent waterlogging without depriving the plants of the much needed sunlight that they need. And it's about finding the right balance so that we can control the moisture but still bring the light that the plants require into the system. And I've also been using rapeseed straw as a mulch. Now this is fantastic for a number of reasons. Firstly, it actually absorbs moisture when water and rain is going on there and releases that when the soil is dry, but also it can absorb water out of the soil when there's excess moisture in the soil. So it's a fantastic mulch to use. Using rapeseed mulch has been fantastic because it helps balance out the water moisture in the containers, and if you're battling unpredictable weather, then rapeseed mulch straw would be a fantastic way to help you control that and even that water out a little bit. For those of you in the UK interested in trying these new style of containers, then you're in luck, because Oakland Gardens have a special on with them at the moment. You just need to input code SIMPLIFY30 at checkout and you'll get 10 of them delivered to your door for £30. The link is in the description below. For those of you in the US and Australia and other places like that, Canada, then bear with me, I'm still working with the relevant companies out there trying to get these containers to you. I'm still looking, so bear with me on that. Gardening is a journey of learning and adapting, and we can't control the weather. So if this season didn't go as well as you had planned, then take it as a learning opportunity and look at what didn't work and put things in place so that next year you can come back much stronger. A few years ago, I built this support system to hold all the homes up off the ground because they were getting trampled on and the sun was baking the containers. And this system held them up, they were being bashed about in the wind, and it stopped all of that. And now we have no problems. It's evolved a little bit since we produced it out of wire. We learned from that and it's evolved into what it is today. And because of that, we learnt, we adapted, and now we don't have that problem anymore. It'll be exactly the same with the rain for this issue. You know, the rain is just another challenge to contend with, and I will find a solution. We'll test it and it may evolve again the year after, but eventually we won't have that problem to worry about either. It's all about adapting to your situation and the current climates that you're dealing with. If you like this video, please share it with your friends, because together we can all learn from the mistakes that one person makes. By sharing that information, other people don't need to make those mistakes. So please share this out, because this is something that I think will benefit a lot of other people, especially if you've been dealing with a lot of rain this year. I'd love to hear from you too. You know, if you've suffered challenges in your garden, tell us below what challenges you've been having and have you found solutions to overcome them. Put your stories in the comment section below so that everybody can learn from them too. And if you've enjoyed this video and learned something, don't forget to like this video and subscribe, because you'll see exactly how these new systems will work in future videos when we put those out. Oh, plus I've got some exciting news to share with you all too, but that'll be coming up in later videos. I know my videos have been sporadic. There are reasons behind that, which I will share with you in later videos. So make sure you subscribe and then you will understand everything that's been happening. Anyway, folks, I'm Tony O'Neill. This is Simplified Gardening. I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.